There is a planet in our solar system that has been staring down at us for all of human history. Ancient Romans named it after their king of gods. Galileo tracked it with a handmade telescope in 1610. NASA has sent 5 spacecraft to study it. And after all of that, scientists will tell you, quietly, that we got it completely wrong. We thought Jupiter was a giant ball of gas. It is not. What it actually is stranger, more violent, and more mysterious than anything we imagined. For most of history, Jupiter was just a bright dot in the night sky. That changed on December 3rd, 1973. A NASA spacecraft called Pioneer 10 flew past Jupiter and sent back the first close-up photograph ever taken of this planet. Scientists gathered around their screens, expecting something they could understand. What they saw raised more questions than it answered. Then, in 1979, Voyager 1 sent back moving images, a time lapse of Jupiter as the spacecraft approached, those swirling storms, those bands of color, that giant red eye staring back at the camera. Nobody could explain what was truly happening beneath those clouds. Here is the first thing that surprises most people. Jupiter has no surface. If you were somehow able to fall toward Jupiter, you would never land. You would fall through clouds, then through thicker clouds, then through something that is not quite gas anymore, and you would be crushed long before you ever reached the center. At the upper cloud layer, temperatures drop to 230 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. Water ice crystals collide with ammonia. The clouds become electrically charged. The result: lightning bolts 5 times more powerful than anything on Earth, firing thousands of times every single hour across the entire planet. That alone makes Jupiter the most violent place in our solar system. But that's just the outer layer. Beneath it, something far stranger is waiting. About 600 miles below those clouds, something happens that scientists still find difficult to fully accept. The hydrogen gas stops being a gas. The pressure becomes so extreme that hydrogen transitions into a liquid, and Jupiter becomes an ocean. Not an ocean of water, an ocean of liquid hydrogen, the largest ocean in our entire solar system, 25,000 miles deep. If you place the Earth inside this ocean, it would be swallowed completely, with thousands of miles of liquid still above it. This ocean exists at temperatures exceeding 18,000 degrees Fahrenheit. At that temperature, any liquid on Earth would instantly vaporize. But Jupiter's gravity is so enormous, so relentless, that the hydrogen cannot escape. It has no choice but to stay liquid. This cannot exist anywhere on Earth. It exists only there, and it gets stranger still, deeper still, 25,000 miles below the cloud tops. The liquid changes one final time. Under pressure, millions of times greater than Earth's surface, electrons are ripped free from their hydrogen atoms. They begin flowing freely through the liquid. In that moment, hydrogen becomes a metal, a liquid metal conducting electricity, spinning with the planet. And that spinning liquid metal generates Jupiter's magnetic field. a force so powerful it extends 600 million miles into space, past the orbit of Saturn. If your eyes could see magnetic fields, Jupiter's field would appear 12 times larger than the full moon in our night sky. Jupiter's magnetic field is 20,000 times stronger than Earth's, the most powerful planetary magnetic field in our solar system, cricked entirely by a liquid. For generations, scientists believed Jupiter had a solid core at its center, a dense ball of rock and metal, sitting quietly at the heart of the planet. In 2016, NASA's Juno spacecraft arrived at Jupiter after a 5-year journey. Its instruments could peer deeper into Jupiter than anything we had ever sent before. What it found shook the scientific community. Jupiter's core is not solid. Scientists now describe it using a word you do not normally hear in physics papers. They call it fuzzy, a vast mixture of liquid, rock, and metal, all blended together, stretching across nearly half the planet's entire width. The leading theory? A planet 10 times the size of Earth slammed into Jupiter billions of years ago, shattering the core completely. But that is only a theory. No one knows for certain. And that is the most humbling part of all this. Jupiter is not some faint object at the edge of our solar system. On a clear night, you can see it with your own eyes. No telescope needed. It has been visible to every human being who has ever lived. We have studied it for 4 centuries. We have flown spacecraft directly into its atmosphere. We have pointed our most powerful instruments at it, and we still cannot answer the most basic question. How did Jupiter form? The king of our solar system. Closer than you think, and far more mysterious than we ever imagined.